Ghost Rider Reviews. Today I'm back in Mercedes Benz of McKinney reviewing this brand new 2024 Mercedes AMG GLE63s SUV. And you should only get the SUV because the GLE Coupe is hideous and this is just better. Mercedes Benz of McKinney is a beautiful dealership located in McKinney, Texas. They have an extensive variety of extremely well-spec'd vehicles and their base model options as well. So they have everything for every sort of buyer. Now, without further ado, let's break this vehicle down and complete a review. Now, for the 2024 model year, this is the year that Mercedes Benz gave this vehicle a facelift. And let me just give you a second to see where the facelift has occurred. Don't see it yet? Right here, we have new LED headlights. These aren't too new in the sense, but they are redesigned. We have a 4 LED strip design with an additional strip at the top. We still have the reflector on the side and the main LED headlamp. And in my opinion, it looks better than it did last year. Last year we just had the angular strips, which looked just as good. We have the Panamera grille with the chrome inserts. This vehicle does not have the AMG Night package, but in my opinion, on a black Mercedes AMG, I prefer it without the AMG appearance package. What I like about the 2024 Mercedes AMG models, except the G-Wagon, is that we have the Falterbach crest on the hood instead of just the Mercedes emblem, and I think that differentiates it a lot better because a lot of people complained about having two Mercedes emblems right in front of each other. Now, this vehicle does have the driver's assistance package, meaning it does have adaptive cruise control, and that module is housed right in front in this emblem. Now, below that we have the front view camera, which is extremely important. It's really helped when there's a high curb in front of me, and I feel that it always comes in handy. Now, the difference between this and the base model GLE 350 or 450 is that we have functional grills, and functional I mean is that it's only in the sides and the rest is blocked off. The GLE 53 also has the spec, which has been given a torque increase this year, but this is the 63S and it has the same power figures. And again, you don't really need more power, so I think that Mercedes made a good choice in not giving this a power increase. We have more air inserts over here along with the parking sensors, really important. We also have the lower chrome pieces, which I think really dress up the car in a good way. Now I have the hood in its service position to give you a better view of what's underneath the hood. And here we have the AMG handcrafted one-man, one-motor 4-liter bi-turbo V8, which pumps out 603 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. And this is not a power increase from last year. Last year had the same numbers, but they really didn't need to do much to it. This is mated to a 90-tronic multi-clutch transmission with the EQ Boost mild hybrid system, which sits in between the flywheel and the clutch to give this a temporary boost at low RPMs to really get it up to speed in a quick manner, and as well as it does reduce turbo lag. Now, notice how I said bi-turbo and not twin-turbo. They're technically an interchangeable term, except you can't say that a twin-turbo setup is a bi-turbo setup because the bi-turbo setup sits in the hot V configuration of the engine. So we have the V configuration of the cylinders and the turbos sit right in the center. What this does is that it decreases the distance from the intake manifold to the turbos itself, which then reduces turbo lag. And it also means that the turbos don't have to spin faster and at a higher pressure to produce more power, which is better for the engine in terms of reliability. Now, speaking of boost pressure, this only goes up to 18.6 or so PSI, when I found that to be a little bit low. I remember the Subaru WRX goes up to 24 in its most powerful setting to really give you that push. So if you did buy one of these and you wanted to make it have 800 horsepower, just go up to your local tuning shop and say, yeah, increase boost pressure, and then give it more fuel, give it more air, and then you should be somewhere in the vicinity of 800 crank horsepower, which in this vehicle is insane, but notice that will void your warranty. Now, the specific engine was crafted by Marcel Dahl in Germany, so thank you, Marcel, for creating this masterpiece of an engine here. What I really like about this setup is that you can see that you have the intakes for the engine, and then right there, smack in the center, we have both of the turbos in their glory. These are relatively large turbos. I don't know what the exact dimensions are, but these things are pretty big. Now, with all of this together, the all-wheel drive system, the all-wheel drive drivetrain, as well as the fact that we have really sticky tires and it's got a 4-liter V8, this will get you to 60 and 3.4 seconds in the rear world. Mercedes claims 3.7, but they're being a little bit modest. This will do it in 3.4 on a level surface in good conditions, and that is crazy. That's faster than some supercars. I'll actually put up some photos of regular cars or performance cars that this thing can be in a straight line to 60. Now, touching back to that note about aftermarket tuning, we can go to Mercedes' partner in performance, Brabus, and get a tune for 800 or 900 horsepower, and that'll actually keep your factory powertrain warranty because Brabus is a partner. And it's not a cheap option, but if you didn't want to push out that much power, the option is there. Now, these AMG multi-spoke wheels are the reason I say not to get the AMG Black or Night package, because just look at them. These are the 22-inch Mercedes AMG Y-spoke wheels, and they are phenomenal. And they're also wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, the same tires you'd find on an AMG GLE63s. And these things are beautiful. They're 285 millimeters in the front and 325 millimeters in the rear. Look how wide these things are. Now, they also have red brake calipers, but if you did want to change them out, you can for $10,000. You'd have to get the AMG carbon ceramic package, which would make the caliper gold or bronze, however you'd like to put it, and it'd give you the carbon ceramic disc brakes, and those things are insane. Now, right on top, we have the adaptive air suspension, which is really phenomenal. Really softens up the ride in comfort mode and really stiffens it up when you're in race mode or in Sport Plus. V8 bi-turbo badging, does say 4MATIC Plus, because this sends only up to about 50% of the power in the front, and that's a rare occasion. It really likes to stay rear biased the whole time. Lower portion features a chrome trim around the mirrors, and then this is the SUV body style. Don't get the coupe. I think they're hideous. It ruins the rear lights. These rear lights are the ones you want to get because it really makes it classier. It's not like you're a soccer mom and you just want to show off. This is the real deal. This is business. Now, I do have the key in my pocket. Again, keyless go, unlocks the vehicle. You can see the macchiato beige and black Napa leather interior. Lock it back up, mirrors fold. Rear windows are tinted a little bit. I wish they tinted the front as well, but that's a law thing for state. But overall, the side profile of this vehicle is gorgeous. And the rear end of this vehicle is really plain, really simple, and honestly, I think that's what's great about this vehicle, because no one's going to expect this thing to just take off of the line. Really simple styling. Again, we have the chrome trim over here. Backup camera pops out from here. This is also the trunk release. We have the Mercedes emblem in chrome, the AMG badge in chrome, and the GLE63s badge in chrome with black behind the S. The lower portion is also plastic, but it does have the camera sensors embedded into it. You also have the regular bumper as well as the exhaust tips. I mean, they're not real exhaust tips, but as real as they do look good. We also have the revised, updated, refreshed taillights, which look better. These are LEDs, and I had no problem with the prior generation ones, but again, this is an upgrade and I will take it. Let's pop the trunk real quick for the trunk test. You can see there's ample room, and one thing I noticed about this tonneau cover is that compared to the GLE53, there's no leather trim where you would expect it to be. So this is a specific to the GLE63s rear tonneau cover, and what this does is it blocks the view from the rear shade, so you can't see anything that's hidden beneath this trunk area. Folding that away, super easy. It's also really easy to take it off. Underneath this mat, we have the full-sized spare. It's not very thick in terms of tire profile, but it will get you to a body shop to your convenience. The speed limit is 50 miles an hour on this. I've used it before on a GLE and it worked perfectly fine. It's just going to be a little bumpy because there are 22s on the actual car, and I believe this is a 20-inch one, so there will be a little bit of a difference there. You also have the front tow hook over here and the tools you need to get your tire off and on in case of an emergency. Let's climb in for this trunk test. Now, one thing that you do have because of the air suspension is that with this button, I can actually lower the vehicle. There we go. And this will lower to its convenience. Fully lowered. Now this allows for a better access from the floor into the trunk, which is always a useful feature. Not a lot of vehicles have this, and I think it's nice that the GLE does. Now it's a little bit cramped in here, and I did it before on a GLE350, so this isn't too bad of a rear trunk test, and it is a pass, so there is that. Now let's get into these rear seats. The rear seats on the GLE has always been super comfortable, especially this generation. I remember when it was the first generation GLE, when it still had the ML body style, and this has a lot more room than that did, and this is honestly really good. Now, is it the same as the 2023 and prior, a little bit prior generation? Yes, it is, but I'd still say that it's super roomy. I have a lot of good foot room, a lot of knee room, a lot of headroom. The seat is set to my desired driving position, and I could probably fit someone who's 6'3", 6'4", maybe even 6'5" back here without any issues, especially with headroom. This does have the panoramic sunroof, and that goes all the way back, so it really helps open up the cabin. I'm not a biggest fan, like I say later in the video, of this aluminum trim, so I'd have this replaced with carbon fiber because it is a 63S trim level vehicle. But otherwise, we have the metal door switches, the metal mirror switches right over here, macchiato beige on the door handle, macchiato beige inserts on the seat itself, and overall, there's nothing bad to say about the rear seats. I really like how they perform. They're super comfortable. I've been in GLEs for long drives, and they work really well. They just outperform pretty much any other mid-sized SUV in the segment. Let's get on to the front seats, and I'll show you some of the features up there. All right, interior on the 2024 Mercedes AMG GLE63s, and it's really comfortable. Now, these seats are the macchiato beige and black Nappa leather, and they have Alcantara lining in them, and they're honestly extremely comfortable. They bolster me really well. What I like is how much leg and knee room I have. There's a lot of room to stretch out, and I've noticed that the GLEs are really comfortable for long drives, even though they're a more sportier appeal for the AMG line. We have metal buttons right over here on the left. They're illuminated, which I quite like. We also have the door handle in metal. Seat adjustment. This is still the old style that actually, flips up and down. We have heated and ventilated seats, which is always nice. And then we have the steering wheel, flat bottomed, and this is the only new thing for the 2024 model year. The only thing that's changed is the fact that we get a flat bottom steering wheel with these two winglet styles to control the left screen with this side and the right screen with that side. And we also have the AMG drive control units, which I can show you. I'm not going to go over the infotainment because I've done this one a million times. I've done it so much that I can't even count how much times I've done it at this point. But if you did want to see how the infotainment system works and how to control the ambient lights, then I can put up a video over there which you can click on later and then see that for yourself. Now, this vehicle is optioned with the aluminum trim. It's not my favorite. I'd say that in a 63S, I'd like to see the carbon fiber. Right here we have the adjustment for our ride height because we have the air suspension in this. We have the center armrest thing in macchiato beige. We have our parking sensor button, our vehicle drive select button, our individual button, telephone, radio, media, and navigation button there. We have the volume control select system, which works fine. It's not my favorite. And then we have another drive select system right over there. This cubby has a wireless charging port, 2 USB-C ports, and 2 large cup holders that can actually cool your drinks, which is impeccable. Cup holder right over here. This is actually cooled based on the air conditioning with an additional USB-C port. Now, I personally really love the interiors on these newer AMG vehicles. This is super comfortable, and I'd say it's the great mix between performance and comfort, and that's really shown when you change the drive select system. And let's turn this on just so I can show you the lights on everything. Now I can actually change the drive select system, and the valves open right there. Traction control on and off, and then I can change how the suspension handles as well. Very beautiful car. Let's go for a drive. Here we are driving the AMG GLE63s, and I will say right off the bat that I did not push the car whatsoever. There's two reasons for this one. It was a brand new vehicle. There were no miles on it, and I didn't want to do anything to it before the break-in had completed, and I don't really want to ruin this vehicle for whoever's going to buy it. The second thing is it was a showroom piece, and I wanted to be as respectful as possible to the people who detail and maintain the vehicle. So that's the reason I didn't push the car too hard. I keep it in comfort and sport plus, and then there's a mild acceleration at the end and in race mode. But overall, in comfort mode, the suspension is extremely well dampened. It feels like I'm driving a GLE 350 with a lot of power in comfort mode. And then once you put it in sport mode, the steering stiffens up, which feels really good. In comfort mode, the steering gets pretty light. The brakes here at the stop sign were really good. They bite quite a bit and they do squeak, but that's because they really haven't gotten many miles into it. You can see with the rotary dial on the steering wheel, I can switch it into sport and sport plus, and then everything changes. The entire dynamic driving style of the vehicle is completely altered when you change the drive mode, and I think that's a really beautiful thing with these modern Mercedes AMG vehicles. Slowing down into this roundabout, we can see the entire steering axis, and you can see that I felt that the turning radius on this was pretty good. I didn't even have to take up half of the roundabout, which is really good. In Sport Plus, the valves have opened up, and you do notice that driving in Sport Plus compared to Comfort. Now I will switch over to race mode. This really gives you full power of the EQ boost system, and it just feels good to be in race mode in your full-sized SUV. I'm gonna give it a little bit of gas, but nothing crazy. This is around a quarter throttle. You can hear the pops at the end as well. Really beautiful. Not too hard. And that is the complete review on the 2024 Mercedes AMG GLE63s. And the price tag is $131,000. And that's pretty fair in range with the competitors. Now, would I take this over an X5M competition? Yes. Now, I know the BMW fanboys are going to come at me for this one, but I think that the styling on this is much more classy and muscular. The new X5 just looks like it's trying to be too futuristic for what it is. I think it's overcompensating in the rear end for the lack of professional styling in the front end. I don't know what BMW is doing with their modern styling. The M4 has grown on me, but I think they could have done their X5M competition a little bit better. We also have the Audi SQ5. No, it doesn't even compete with this. It would compete more with a GLE53 because that thing has I believe it's a 2.9 liter turbocharged V6. So this is a twin turbo V8, so you're gonna have to save it. Maybe this would go well with a RSQ8, which is a baby Urus, and if I'm being unbiased, I still wouldn't take that over it. I just don't like the Volkswagen Auto Group's build quality in comparison to this. And overall, I think the styling of this really wins, especially with these wheels. You have to admit, those look really, really good. Now, if you're interested in buying this very specific vehicle, come down to Mercedes Benz of McKinney, and they'll get you worked out that same day. Thank you very much for watching. Please do consider subscribing, and remember to keep on driving.